Hello everyone and welcome to the weekly show where I share some of the most interesting news in gaming. This week we check in with Bend Studios' long-anticipated Days Gone, a look at Far Cry 5's post-launch content, some tidbits on Overwatch and Monster Hunter World, and the story of the week, the announcement of the next Tomb Raider game by Square Enix, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. This is GameByte. Before we jump in, I wanted to quickly announce that GameByte will be finding its home on my other channel, Nerd On. Nerd On is the home of a weekly geek and pop culture podcast that I do with three of my good friends. We're also moving to feature a lot more Let's Plays and other gaming related content, so if it sounds like something you're into, stop on by and throw us a subscribe. Anyways, let's get into the news for this week with an announcement by Bend Studios, part of Sony Worldwide, and the developers of the anticipated post-apocalyptic action-adventure game, Days Gone. The game was originally slated for release sometime in 2018, but has now been delayed to sometime in 2019. It was also later reported by some sources that the delay may have just purely been a business decision by Sony. It seems like they want to avoid going up against major titles in late 2018. While the delay is a bit of a bummer, it's understandable that Bend doesn't want to go up against games like Red Dead Redemption 2, which is slated to release around that time. At least it's nice to know that the development on Days Gone seems to be going pretty smoothly, and the game is shaping up to be pretty awesome. I'm all for spreading out AAA titles as much as possible throughout the year. I know my wallet will definitely thank them. Moving right along, the release of Far Cry 5 is just over a week away, and in typical Ubisoft fashion, the game has deluxe and gold versions of the game. And now we finally know what the Far Cry 5 post-launch content will be to fill that gold edition. In a snazzy new trailer released this week, we can see 3 official pieces of DLC included in the game's Season Pass. The first DLC will take you to a war-torn Vietnam to rescue soldiers and fight Viet Cong. The second DLC will take you to Mars, where you have to save Earth by defeating an invading alien force. Finally, the third DLC will take you back to Earth to fight several scenarios against, you guessed it, zombies. If that wasn't enough, the Season Pass also includes the full game of Far Cry 3 Classic Edition. Now that's quite the value if you ask me. The Season Pass seems to be worth it for just that alone. Now, if that wasn't enough, the trailer also outlined some free post-release content, which features a new mode called Far Cry Arcade, which centers around extra missions and PvP. On top of that, you get community-built maps and things like that, not unlike GTA 5, might I add. There will also be reoccurring public events, which should bring players back in from time to time for limited time loot. If early impressions are any indication, Ubisoft might have a home run on their hands. I'm definitely excited to jump into the game with the Nerd On crew as soon as it drops. Speaking of value, we have a pretty cool announcement from Twitch about their Twitch Prime service. If you don't know already, Amazon Prime members can link their account to Twitch and receive benefits like ad-free viewing, a free sub every month, and extra in-game perks. Well, it looks like Twitch is about to take things to a whole new level with their announcement of free games with Prime. Twitch Prime members will have access to a select number of game titles for free every month. The first month include games like Superhot and Oxenfree. We even got a sneak peek of next month's titles, including Tales from the Borderlands. For those console gamers, sadly it does seem to be limited to PC releases, but it's something that at least I'm very excited about because I'm relatively new to PC gaming for the most part, and it's nice to be able to catch up on some games that I may have missed over the last few years, and now you get that chance as well. Anyways, moving on, we have a couple smaller tidbits. First up, the 27th Overwatch character, Brigitte, is finally set to debut in the live game with the March 20th update. There were some initial reports, which I think were backed by some posts by the game's lead designer Jeff Kaplan, that suggested that it may be a little bit longer before we get Brigitte finally in the game. Well, the good news is it seems like her balancing is going a lot smoother than normal, and she should be coming out next week. Anyways, you know how when you create your custom character in an RPG and he or she ends up looking like a misshapen hellspawn when you boot in and see your character animated for the first time? Yeah, well, it happens to me all too often. Hashtag character creator screens are a lie. Well, luckily, Monster Hunter World has introduced a new feature, a way for you to redesign your character. Thank goodness. The catch? It will cost you. There are no details on pricing just yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if it costs something in the neighborhood of $10. It is going to be called a Hunter Appearance Ticket, an item that you can purchase in-game, and sadly we don't know when it's coming yet, but most likely sometime pretty soon. Finally, moving on to the big story of the week, and that is the surprise announcement of the next chapter in Square Enix's Tomb Raider series, The Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Details leaked a couple days ago, which may have forced Square Enix's hand in announcing it a bit early. The trailer showcases some stunning non-in-game graphics, and Lara standing over an Aztec-themed tomb site of some kind. Sadly, we know very little about the game apart from its release date, which is September 14th, launching simultaneously on Xbox One, PS4, and the PC. The trailer also tells us that we will learn much more about it on April 27th during the game's official unveiling. You can expect a snazzy trailer of some kind, maybe setting up the basic plot and what Lara has been up to since the previous game. You can probably also expect some kind of scripted gameplay demo during E3, which will be just around the corner. The only other bit of information came with Square Enix's press release, which accompanied the trailer, in that the game may close the trilogy in some way, as it describes the game to be featuring Lara Croft's defining moment. It all sounds pretty exciting. Anyways, are you excited for Lara's return? Are you picking up Far Cry 5 or Sea of Thieves? Or will you be like me and count the days until you can take Brigade finally into comp? Let's discuss. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe for more Destiny content. And I will see you all next time.